Hey guys, in this month's Disney Rewind, I'm going to be talking about the documentary series, How Disney Built America. You know, for as long as I have been doing this channel, I don't think I have ever reviewed a documentary. Seriously? Like, nothing is coming to mind. So this might be the very first time I am reviewing a documentary. I guess I'll see how it goes. So yeah, I know this is probably maybe a bit of a weird video to put in like these monthly Disney Rewind videos that I do, but I figured this would be a nice little place to put this particular review. If you don't know what this documentary series, How Disney Built America, what it is, it aired on the History Channel here in America. I'm not sure if it aired elsewhere in the world and how accessible it is, but yeah, over here it's the History Channel, and it was a 6-part mini-series, documentary style. So yeah, nonfiction, obviously, if I'm not clear. And it's done in the style of, you have like professionals, people who are experts in their field, you know, that sort of thing. It's a mixture of like people talking and explaining the history, but also kind of a combination of like there's actors performing scenes, like reimagining how things might have played out, reenacting moments. So I guess how the title of the show is How Disney Built America. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, and yeah, the fact that it's on the History Channel. The whole documentary is about the creation and the origins of Disney, essentially. How Disney is just the huge, massive beast and monolith that it is in our modern day society. It is everywhere. It consumes everything. Most people are Disney fans. They have consumed something with Disney at some point in their life. It's kind of hard to escape the entity that is Disney. If you've managed to avoid it, I don't know how, because it is everywhere, and that's kind of the whole point of this documentary series. And yeah, the History Channel has done similar documentaries like this in the past, because there's like a big popular series like the food that built America, and there was a brand new series that was kind of on before this Disney one, like the brands that built America. So yeah, what all of these shows have in common is like these big things that form the entity of America life and American culture and whatnot. And so yeah, of course, Disney has its own whole separate series, which is great. Let me begin here with this documentary series. Something that I enjoyed in particular about this documentary series, because it is on the History Channel, it's not sugarcoating things, if that makes sense. Let me explain. On Disney Plus, for instance, Disney Plus has had quite a number of documentaries going into like the origins and the history of how Disney, the brand of Disney, was created, and you know, the story of Walt Disney and the creation of Disneyland and Disney World and all of that. There's a lot of documentary series kind of covering a lot of various different things, like even including like the Imagineers, you know, the people who make and build the attractions, you know, the creative geniuses behind the brand. So the thing is, as much as I love a lot of those documentaries on Disney Plus, you know, because they're really fun and entertaining and engaging, as much as I love all those series, the thing is, because it is on Disney Plus, those particular documentaries I think are very sugar-coated, if that makes sense. So, like I said, I love that this History Channel documentary, that it wasn't really sugarcoating anything. It was kind of getting into some of those sort of darker elements, you know, not that the history is like super dark, you know, there's nothing like super dark about it, but yeah, kind of looking into kind of almost the mania and obsessiveness of Walt Disney himself. The man was a little bit crazy. He was a bit of a mad scientist, a bit of a mad genius. And sometimes, like, while watching the documentary, like, sometimes, like, the guy who was portraying Walt Disney, sometimes the way he was portraying him as a character within this documentary, is sometimes Disney would almost come across as a bit of an ass and a bit of a jerk. And I kind of liked seeing that side, you guys, because, like, once again, on Disney Plus, whenever people are talking about Walt Disney, it's always singing his praises and never really kind of getting into some of those darker elements, you know, getting into his obsessiveness and his mania, just how controlling he was about certain things, you know. So yeah, that was a big part of why I liked this documentary series on the History channel, not sugarcoating anything, and really being just honest about certain things, you know. Yeah, sometimes some of the presenters were still singing the praises of Disney, but still kind of looking at Walt Disney as, you know, a flawed individual, you know, a flawed human individual. So I appreciated that, and I like that. So not only is this documentary series really heavily focused on just Walt Disney himself, but what I also highly appreciated was the huge focus and attention put on Roy Disney as well, Walt Disney's older brother, because a lot of times you hear about Roy Disney in passing. There's always so much Walt Disney this, Walt Disney that, and Roy is the one who is working quietly, very quietly behind the scenes, keeping the name, the image, the brand in check, in line. He's the guy who's really highly focused on the financial situation of the brand, whereas Walt is so obsessed and controlling about other things, you know, and yeah, just spending money willy-nilly. And poor Roy, I got a kick out of the documentary series. The highlight of the entire documentary series was anytime Walt Disney had some crazy expensive idea, and then poor Roy would be over there off to the side like, oh dear God, I'm going to have an aneurysm, I'm going to die, I'm going to get a heart attack, I'm going to have high blood pressure. Because of him, like, the cogs in his brain twirling like, okay, how are we going to spend this, you know, where are we even going to get the money for your grand ideas? So I love that time and attention spent on Roy Disney as well. It really just opened my eyes to him as an individual and how much of a presence he is within the brand, even though he's so very much behind the scenes. Another thing I liked about the series, another episode that was a favorite of mine, I can't remember the exact episode, but it was the episode that dealt with merchandising, essentially, and the guy who kind of came up with the modern version of merchandising and branding, because prior to, like, Disney merchandising and Disney branding of, like, movies and television, like back in the day for, like, you know, movies and television, merchandising was not a thing. It wasn't even imaginable or conceivable to have branding for movies and television at the time. But the guy who was in charge of, like, merchandising and branding at Disney, his name was Kay Kamen, and he tragically died in, like, a plane accident, you guys, like back in the late 40s, something like that. And I had no idea about that. That was pretty tragic to learn about. But yeah, Kay Kamen, he essentially invented branding and merchandising. So there's a whole episode dedicated to him and his role within the Disney world, if you will. One of my favorite episodes. And yeah, if look at my room, you guys. I have a lot of Disney stuff back here. I got these little squishmallows right here. Yeah, I got like something from Sleeping Beauty, and right here from Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, and yeah, Funko Pops everywhere. You know, I have Disney Funko Pops everywhere. So yeah, thanks to Kay Kamen, my room is a mess because of Disney merchandising and branding. So yeah, I mean, to kind of conclude this video about this documentary series, I definitely highly recommend watching this series if you are a lover of all things Disney, because this series covers a lot. It covers, you know, how Walt and Roy created Mickey Mouse, and you know, the early cartoons, and how Snow White got going, and how the parks got going, how the merchandising got going, and yeah, like the very last episode of the season is like dedicated to like just the individual parks and some of the special things there and what's unique and special, and like kind of the inventions, you know, some of the big inventions that were kind of unheard of, and how the parks, the Disney parks, how all these other theme parks followed in the wake of Disney. You know, they are all inspired by what Disney parks did, you know, like Universal and all that. So I did. I highly recommend this documentary series. It was really eye-opening in places. I liked the honesty of it. I liked that it wasn't just sitting and sugarcoating anything, and yet it was still fun. You know, it was, as someone who loves all things Disney, it was still really fun and enjoyable, and kind of throwing in some new aspects in there that I've not seen in other Disney related documentaries. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on the documentary series How Disney Built America. In the comments below, have any of you guys watched this documentary series? If you did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did my thoughts and feelings on this documentary series, did it push you to maybe be like, hey, I want to go check it out now? Just let me know. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.